pelvic floor issues. But in the end, it also helped my husband, who has a torn labrum in his hip. We've had this piece of equipment for a little over a year, and I thought I would share with you the pros and cons of it and see if it's something you'd like to have in your gym. So let's jump into it. I just hook it up on the rig like this. Put the pin in, and it does have these smaller pinholes, which is what I use because they match the holes on our rig. But they also have bigger ones that they come with. I'm not sure why. I'm sure it's attached to a different kind of rig, but when you put this in to make sure it doesn't fall out, you snap it down, and this is what it looks like. This is how it comes right here, and then it also comes with a belt. We'll kind of jump into the belt, show you the belt here in a second. So it also comes with this belt. So it comes with this belt right here. It says Revolt, comes from them, and it has 3 different sizes, I guess you could say, to hook it on. So you would put the belt on, and I'm obviously smaller, so I did on the smallest one. For me personally, I wish I could go even a little bit smaller. I know I'm a very small person, and this is very, like, probably not your average bear. It does work, but sometimes I find it like kind of starting to slip down because it's hard to fit a little bit tighter, and because it's so wide, it can get into my rib cage. So that's a me thing. I'm 5'4" and only about 105 pounds right now. So that's a lot smaller than your average bear. I feel like for anybody that's gonna use this. My husband has no problem with it. He actually puts that on the 2nd notch and uses it for belt squats. Sometimes I've seen him do it on the other one. My husband's like 6 feet tall, 190, 200, and he has no problem. We're doing it just like this. This is how it comes. This is how you purchase it. You have to squat all the way down, hook it here. I guess you could get in squat position if there's weight on it. Stand up with it, and then you could start squatting, right? Have my weights on here, and start my squats. Okay. Then, when you're done, you have to put it all the way down, squat all the way down, you have to unhook it. Oh, sorry, I have a really bad knee and I can't check this in another video. When you just squat with these things, you can't get up. Alright, there we go. You have to go all the way down and then stand up, and that's how you have to do it. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to pull up my bench. We're going to have a little bit of a talk before I get more into this. It's a really cheap machine addition piece of equipment for being a belt squat. It's around $200 and $250, depending whether it's on sale or not. And that is a really great price for something like that. And it's one of the reasons we got it. I originally got it because I have been dealing with some pelvic floor issues and back issues and hip issues myself. And squatting with a barbell has just been out of the question. It causes me a lot of pain afterwards, causes me pain during. I am working with therapists and stuff like that, but I just have not been able to do a traditional barbell squat since getting sick and, you know, dealing with my chronic illness and which is outside of the pelvic floor issues, but all of it combined, I just have not been able to do barbell squats and physically be okay. And we got this before I even was diagnosed with my illness, with my PCS, and all of that stuff. So this was originally more of like a pelvic floor. This hurts my body really bad. I don't feel good when I do barbell squats, but I want and need to squat. So we got this. My husband also has a torn labrum in his hip. It's not torn all the way through. He gets treated for it, but barbell squats also tend to cause him a lot of problems. He can do box squats and he can do barbell squats, but only to a certain amount of weight before it causes issues in his hip. So we got this because we were like, you know, this is a reasonable price. It's manageable, so to speak. But here's the thing. I say all that because it comes just like this. And as you just watched me try and do, it is nearly impossible to do squats with weight like that. And the frustrating thing is they sell a kickstand, it's called this kickstand, separately, which is more money. And I totally understand, I get it, and you could add it on when you started, but we just didn't have that extra money. We just Like, we barely had the $200 to purchase it, but we felt it was a need because I wanted to work out and I wanted to feel healthy and I wanted it to be safe. And we were like, what are we gonna do? So I am very MacGyver-esque in life. That's kind of how I roll, so to speak. So I convinced my husband to build this bad boy. Move this bench out of the way. Da, da, da. It is our own little ghetto kickstand made with leftover 2x4s that I found in our garage. And you know what? It's pretty awesome. It works pretty well. So now let me show you. Let me back this up a little bit so you can maybe see better how this works. Get this bench out of the way. And I'm sharing this with you because you have the extra money to buy the kickstand. Great. Buy the kickstand. You have to have the squat. I'm telling you, unless you have really good flexibility or really good knees, there is no way I could use this piece of equipment without having this kickstand. So, it's funny, this is like the second version of it because it had a really nice like thin handle on it and we made it a little bit nicer. Well, my son likes to build things as well, and one day he kind of dismantled this whole thing and used the pieces of wood for something else. The kickstand is for this guy. You just set it on here, and now it's level. It's sitting level. And by the way too, you can adjust this up and down, like lower and higher, to change like the starting angle of this. And I read that it can work the quads a little bit different. Just to replicate a regular belt squat, you want to keep it as level as possible. So now I can come in here and I can add weight. So let's just add a little bit of weight. Let me show you. And it does only come with, as far as I remember, because you have to put this together. It came with just this part right here. And then these were separate, you just screw them on. This right here was separate, you had to screw it on. And I don't think it came with like a thinner hole for like metal weights that are thinner. It just came with this Olympic one, which is fine because we only have Olympic plates. So put your weight on as much as you can handle. I don't remember the weight limit, but I can tell you I've never used it, so I'm not worried about that. Then you put your belt on, and this is where the kickstand matters. Look, I just have to go from here to here now. That's it. I'm not squatting all the way down to the ground, trying to get my feet underneath me, stand it up, because we really thought, oh, we don't need the kickstand, we'll make it work, we're not paying the extra money. And so we just bought it as it came, and this whole thing started. And then we were trying to do it, and we were like, we can't do that. So that's when I was like, you know what? We could build one. We could build one. So then I just grabbed this handle here, and I move this out of the way. But then we can get right into our squats, right? I do the squats. I have no pelvic floor issue and pelvic floor pain or lower back pain or hip pain whatsoever when I do these, by the way. And I think it's because in a barbell squat, right, like I have to keep my chest up really high. I'm using a lot of my core and I'm sitting down deep. So everything in here has a lot of pressure and I'm keeping everything nice and tight. With these, I get to lean forward and it creates a lot of relief for me in my lower back and my pelvic floor area. We do our squats. And then when we're done, our set, reach back, we grab our kickstand, put it back on our kickstand, rest it, unhook, and we're done, right? Super cool little thing. So for me, with the negatives, it didn't come with a kickstand, that the belt is just a one-size-fits-all, and that it's kind of wobbly on the rig, but it's also meant to fit, you know, a couple different sizes of rigs, so I understand. But I have a lot of positives to say, and I'll talk about that. So number one, it is a sturdy piece of equipment. Like the metal itself is top grade steel. It doesn't feel flimsy. It doesn't feel like it would easily be broken or dented or anything like that. So I really appreciate that, especially when you're stacking 45s, like one on top of the other, and then you're getting into squats. Like I want to feel like that's a good quality attachment for my rig and nothing bad is going to happen. I also feel like, and I don't have it, but just from the research we did looking at the pictures, their kickstand looks like a really good, really sturdy kickstand compared to our 2x4 one, but I trust our free 2x4 one, it gets the job done. Another positive is just the accessibility of using something like this in your garage gym. Because to go buy like a real belt squat machine is a ton of money, and they're usually really big. Like, where am I gonna put it in my tiny garage? This, I just get to put on my rig, do my set, take off my rig, and it stays in a nice little corner where it's out of the way and it's not a problem. So I love the accessibility of it. I love the price of it. I love the quality of the metal material of it, and it looks good, right? It's nice. The other thing is, like I said, having the ability to do something like a belt squat and change your routine is massive. Like, my husband didn't squat for like 6 months because he physically couldn't. And I had stopped squatting, and I was like, I don't remember what I was doing. I was watching something, and it was like former NFL players, and they were talking about the fact that their entire career, they never did, it wasn't a bunch of them, it was like 2 or 3. They were talking about how they never did barbell back squats because they didn't want to put extra stress on their spine. They just wanted to make sure that their legs were strong, their knees were strong, their glutes were strong, that they were able to take hits well, and sorry, super sketchy. Anyway, and so that they had just belt squatted their entire career in the NFL. I think I said NHL, I meant NFL. Anyway, and I was like, man, if it doesn't cause back issues for them, and my husband's issue is not a back issue, it's a hip issue, but he feels it in his back. Like, he gets referred pain into his back with his torn hip labrum. So I was like, why don't we just try this belt squat? So I started doing research, I started looking up good quality ones for decent prices, and when I found this one, I was like, you know what? Let's just try it. Like, what's the worst that could happen? And it literally changed the game for the both of us. I still can't do barbell squats, but my husband started doing belt squats. He did it for about 4 months, built his strength back, and now he's back to doing barbell squats and not having any issues at all. I shouldn't say at all. Some days he does, and some days he's more sore, like running aggravates it, and so he has to train a lot for his work. So if he goes a long run or a ruck or anything like that, he might come do belt squats instead of back squats for his day. But for me personally, with my health issues now and with my pelvic floor issues, this has completely changed the game.
Before I wrap up the video here in a second, I wanted to say the camera cut me off, which is kind of why that last section got cut off kind of funny, but I wanted to share some footage of me actually using the equipment in a workout. This is my workout from Monday. I had 3 sets of 8 belt squat, and as you can see, I am able to get full depth. I'm able to lift heavier weights than I would with a barbell, and I am not having any pain or any issues whatsoever. I have no pelvic floor pain, I have no back pain, and I don't have any issues later on in the day or the next day like I do when I use a barbell squat. I also forgot to mention this in the video, but we actually use this for doing a variation of bent over rows as well. We have D-rings that we attach to the clip where the belt is, and we're able to do rows, and it's super cool.
So is this like the fanciest, most technical review on a piece of equipment you've ever seen? Absolutely not. Is this just a real mom and wife talking to you about why we buy things and why we use them in our gym? Yeah, 100%. So there it is, the Revolt Belt Squat rig attachment. I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it if you have the money and you want to switch up your training, or if you're a woman and you're dealing with pelvic floor issues, or even if you're not a woman and whoever you are, if you're dealing with any kind of back pain and back issues while squatting, if you're dealing with any kind of, like I said, if you're a woman, pelvic floor issues while squatting, this for us personally has been a game changer. It is something I'll always do. It is something I will always incorporate, and I will never, ever, ever get rid of it. So I hope this helps you. I hope you have a good day. Thank you for listening to me talk about this and rant, and I will catch you in the next one.